Hi there everybody, that's right, it's the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time, appearing as if from nowhere. Okay, I do apologise for not having done a tarot show last week, but various things have cropped up. I've had a bit of a feverish cold and, you know, insert lame excuse here. But never mind, I'm back on the camera again one more time, shuffling my cards like crazy, and we'll be just cracking on with a few readings and seeing basically what comes through. As is traditional, you know, I do have a bit of a backlog there, so I just go through the readings one at a time. This is readings by request, but not on demand. And I'll also very quickly remind you that I do not accept readings in the comment section, only via private message on this YouTube channel, Nick Dutch Tarot. Okay, that's all one word, lowercase, as I'm sure you know by now. Alright, now I'll just quickly run through the standard disclaimer, and that is that no matter what, you are the one who is in charge of your life, okay? All I can do is tell you what I can see here, and I guess the final interpretation is up to yourself. It's up to you to try and use the moments in your day when you have your readings just to think about your life in a different way, from a different point of view, and just have that bit of me time, which is just like so lacking in our 21st century lives, when we've got to deal with our bosses, our families, work, money, financial constraints, trying to fit shopping and housework into absolutely everything. And yes, I go through all those things as well, okay? So I'm living in the real world. But never mind, let's just crack on with the first reading of today and see basically what kind of things is coming through. We have Freya Gustava, who is the first one. Now, she's got quite an interesting story. And it's not a totally uncommon style of question which is asked of me, because she's got an internet relationship that's been going on for a while, and her question is this more than just an internet fantasy? The first thing I would say, Freya Gustava, is that the moment you've asked me that question, that demonstrates to me that within you there is the seeds of doubt. And I think doubt is actually one of the most important reactions that we can have to a wide variety of things in the real world. So essentially, yeah, by all means use that. Now, a real relationship is when you're contacting an awful lot, okay? When you're seeing each other an awful lot, you're really building a foundation, you're working out where the commonality really lies, and it's based upon face-to-face. That's a real relationship. If you've been talking to a person over the internet for a few years, you haven't met up, then it's just like a pen-pal relationship, realistically speaking. But what I can do is I can see if there are any feelings there that this other person has got for you. And we'll see whether there is some apparent potential which is going to creep into the reading today. Let's just have a quick look. Just a second, please. Okay, now you guys probably already know I've only got about 3 or maybe 4 different styles of reading that I do. And I vary the style and structure of the spread depending upon the question, depending upon how many people are involved, and so on and so forth. We'll just have a look at this one particular relationship and move on from there basically, and I'll go on to the next reading. This is my standard 8-card relationship reading. There are signs on your side of things, signs on his side of things, the forces between you, namely the thing which defines the relationship connection and progression, short-term, mid-term and long-term future. Okay, well, what is the first thing that comes through? Not all that much in terms of loving signs. Okay, this is someone who considers you to be an important person in their life. This is someone who has a lot of respect for you, I would say even some admiration. There's a couple of forces there. The desire to maintain a feeling of equilibrium, peace and balance, alright? Maintaining stability the way it is at the moment. So, although there is some willpower there, it's not necessarily strong enough for me to be able to say this is an individual who's going to turn around and try and come into your life, appear on your front doorstep with a bottle of champagne and a bunch of red roses and a box of milk tray chocolates and say, okay, let's make a go of this straight away. I don't have that quality of willpower there. And there's even a sense of some negative emotions. That's the 5 of Swords there, which is often labelled as a defeat, which isn't always a positive card. Sometimes it can be very positive depending upon the context. But you're basically asking about this as if to say maybe there is something else going on here. I'm not seeing strong love signs there. I'm just being honest about that, okay? You know, and I'm not feeling it either. Now, the thing which defines the forces in between the two of you well, we got the two of wands there. That is more willpower orientated. He wants to maintain the connection with you. He wants to maintain the communication, and I think that's also important. But there's also a feeling of control there. Why would there be a feeling of control there? Is it because he's trying to control you? Well, I think he's trying to control the relationship the way it is in the here and now. And also trying to maintain things the way that they are in the here and now. So that's also looking not terribly positive. But the communication signs are still there, and the willpower sign is still there. So essentially the impression is that this is someone who's going to maintain contact. So you can see this person as a very good, very close, very intellectually intimate individual to have a connection with. But it's not really moving further forward. Now, signs on your side of things. Very similar to what we had on his side of things, okay? Because on his side of things, we had that more tranquil, peaceful side of things, plus a certain sense of doubt or negativity. On your side of things, strong spiritual sense of connection coming through in the Eon card, which is, of course, the 20th Major Arcana. But also the Three of Swords, talking about sorrow, thinking about, is it worthwhile me investing my heart in this individual? To which the bottom line is, no, it's not worthwhile investing your heart in this individual. As a professional tarot reader, I don't just sit here and tell you what you want to hear. I don't. It's just not part of my job. No, sorry, let me rephrase that. As a good tarot reader, I don't tell you what you want to hear all the time. Okay? There's different ways in which I can express myself and explain myself to provide you with different forms of perspective. But I'm not here to stroke your ego. Alright? Now, progression, short-term, mid-term and long-term future. Rather erratic. Sorry, my throat went a bit there. Rather erratic. Because your mid-term future signs does actually have some kind of loving component, as well as the anticipation of there being some change. It's almost like the quality of communication he's going to give you is going to change in nature and type and quality. And this is someone who's going to tease you a little. I feel this is more like flirtatious communication. But I also feel, because you've got this sense of spiritual connection with him, this feeling of, there is something there, that you may take that a bit too seriously, deliberately, or literally. Unless this guy is flying over to see you all the time and all the rest of it. You haven't got a real relationship there in practice. Okay? So, no matter what, when your mid-term future signs come 3 to 6 months down the line from now in the new year, you've got to be skeptical about what he's giving you. Alright? Now, prophecy is only about probability. If he does suddenly change his nationality, come into your country, live 3 blocks down the road from you, and you go out and have coffee in Starbucks every single day, and go out for a McDonald's breakfast or dinner every single day, and go to the cinema once in a while, and start dating properly, then we could say hypothetically that it's developing into a relationship. But we can't say that in the here and now. Okay, the evidence is not there. Alright, and I just wanted to make sure you're aware of that. I do feel anxious every time I do a reading. Why is that? Because I've got no idea what's going to come through. Alright, and I've got no idea how I should be expressing myself. And all I can do is the best I can do. So, I'm afraid you're just going to have to accept that message, alright? Let's move on to the next one. Okay, Extreme Diva wants to have a quick look at her love life just within the period of a month, basically. I'll have a quick look for you. Now, this is difficult because this is a reading question in which I've been given a question. Sure, that's okay, that's good. And I've been given a time frame to have a look into. But also, I haven't been given the individual to read upon, and I haven't really been asked questions about a relationship. It's just been a little more abstract. So, we'll just have a quick look and see what's coming through, basically. I'll do a chronological spread because that makes more sense here. Already I'm getting the impression that there is somebody on your mind. I'm getting the feeling that there is a need to have communication from a particular individual. The feeling is that this person has to or should express themselves to you in some manner, and the birthday is somehow really important. And it's got to happen before your birthday for you to be sure. That's what I'm feeling. But anyway, let's see what the reading says. Just bear with me a second. Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. It's not really a black and white answer. It's much more a question of you're going to receive some good promises because we've got some good signs in your midterm future with reference to this short time frame, which is looking like quite loving, quite happy, quite positive. So there's going to be some extra things to boost your perspective as to what's going to happen here. But at the end, we've got resentment or defensiveness, which suggests that just before your birthday there's going to be a bit of anxiety as to what is going to happen, what could possibly happen, how things could possibly progress, and not necessarily an awareness of things working out according to plan. What I'm going to do is, you just asked me about this time frame, what's your birthday on the 28th of October. I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to expand the reading a bit further and see what's going to happen after your birthday. Alright, because that short time frame doesn't make me feel happy. It makes me feel that there's a promise but there's no results. Aha. Alright, now in the first part of the reading there was no real male significators. There's no real sense of there being an individual coming into your life for the purposes of making things happen and things work. Although we did have the happiness signs there. The happiness signs could be referring to a state of a desire for something of a romantic nature. But in the future part of the reading, it's getting a bit more down to earth. As I'm sure you know, I often look at the colours and colour combinations when dealing with the reading. And when we've got those sort of like happy, bubbly, sort of like dancing over daffodils kind of feelings, that can be very good. But it's not very, it hasn't taken into account the down-to-earth practicality of what's actually happening in a particular relationship connection. Alright, so we're moving further forward into the future. We're seeing signs relating to a particular male significator, one particular person who's important to you, demonstrating and expressing through strong willpower a sense of wanting to be with you. Alright, we're seeing signs of you spending time with an individual, actually being able to build a relationship which is actually going to work. So in the first half, you know, you've had the promises, but there's also this defensiveness, as in, why hasn't this person done this? Why hasn't this person done that? And in the future part of the reading, we're starting to see things starting to happen. Strong sense of desire, strong sense of connectivity, and some victory. So you may go through a period of optimism, of dark nights of the soul, and then not only optimism, but optimism fortified by activity, which could actually lead you in the right direction. Now remember, prophecy is about probability, not about hard and fast certainty, but this appears to be what's going on. Maybe my feelings earlier on were correct, and there is somebody on your mind, someone who's quite important and, you know, right for you in many different ways. But it's a question of making sure that particular bond is going to build in a way which is suitable. And for some reason the word suitable is quite important for you here. Okay, we got a guy called Storey who's got a very difficult situation. He's been in a relationship for a while, it's gone according to plan, the woman's got pregnant, wonderful. But now the woman's turning around and saying, go away! Which is a very peculiar response, because that's not normally the way that a woman would react when she knows there's a child coming. There's a need to have a proper nesting environment, you know, and a good, solid, stable family for the child to grow up in. So basically what's going on here? Okay, we'll have a quick look. Standard relationship reading. I'm shuffling like mad. Basically what comes out is what you get. So, you know, there's always some anxiety because I'm making a nice random reading. So we'll just have to see basically what's going to come through. Yeah, I do feel for you in this situation, because once you've got a connection going, you want it to carry on going according to plan. You don't necessarily want the person that you're involved with to go completely blooming nuts, do you now? Oh dear. Alright, well I think this explains the situation reasonably clearly. As you know, it's my standard 8-card relationship reading. Signs on your side of things, signs on her side of things, forces between you, and of course progression, short-term, mid-term and long-term future. What do we have here? The forces between you, 5 of coins, talking about worry and anxiety. What more do I have to say? I mean, that expresses the situation perfectly, doesn't it? Okay. On her side of things, it's her who's got the problem here. When the child came along, she felt that she's lost a large and important chunk of her life, and it has been taken away from her. She wanted it to happen, yes. There's a sense of desire here, but that desire is also towards you, not just towards the child. There's also a sense of a desire for something a little more frivolous and fun. She feels she's not quite ready for the domestic family drudgery, okay? Which means that once the child has come, she's still going to want to dress up nice and go out and do a bit of partying and have a few laughs, okay? She's struggling with maturity. She's struggling with the realization that now everything's got to go okay. Some people have a panic button or a self-destruct button, and when things start to get a bit too emotionally difficult, they push that imaginary button and start pushing people away from themselves. They just do that. Men do that, women do that. I think men probably do that more than women anyway. But in her case, there's an awful lot of intellectualization about what the future is going to be like. A bit like someone who realizes that there's something wrong with them and they can't quite do what normal people could do. Okay, so it must be very intellectually hard for her right now, and she's not, I would say, eloquent enough to be able to express all of the concerns that she's got in great enough detail. And also in a real relationship, you don't talk about deep stuff, though, do you? You talk about deep stuff in a shallow way to make sure the other person understands to a certain degree where you're coming from. You don't necessarily go into all the ramifications and how it latches on to all the things in your childhood and all the rest of that kind of stuff, do you? Okay? So she's not going to be able to offload. I think that it would be worthwhile if she got herself a counsellor or a therapist, or indeed for you as a couple to get something like relate marriage guidance counselling or relationship counselling. Okay? Something along those lines would actually help. Because you've got differing opinions. And obviously from a male point of view, you can't understand what a woman goes through anyway. And from a woman's point of view, she can't understand what a man goes through anyway. And homosexual relationships are probably a damn sight easier. Unfortunately, I'm not gay, so I wouldn't know about that. On your side of things, you're going to make this work. Alright, tremendous loving signs on your side of the reading, as well as a strong sense of a desire for victory as a result of a major struggle. And that's why we've got the chariots coming through, because that is a victory. But that victory can only happen if you've had a fight, alright, or if you've had a battle. I'm not trying to say you should actually go home and have an argument with her, don't get me wrong, please, okay? But how can you have a victory if you haven't had a struggle or a conflict of some type, first and foremost? And the fact of the matter is, yes, that struggle does still seem to be there, so it's a difficult situation. Progression, short-term, mid-term and long-term future, no signs of destruction. Some of you might be thinking, oh, we've had the Lightning Struck Tower card turn up. Okay. But the Lightning Struck Tower card has turned up reversed. Alright, it can speak of a sense of instability, it can speak of a sense of knowing that your whole life is going to be turned around. But why hasn't it come sooner? Alright, she's pregnant, she's carrying a child. Why hasn't it come sooner? Your very short-term future signs, the Four of Swords, talking about a sense of truce. So you're aware that there's a conflict going on there. You need to have a sense of mutual understanding, and so that feeling of mutual understanding to a certain degree is going to start to develop, and as a result of good quality communication. So essentially there's something of a positive nature which is happening here. I wouldn't be concerned, I wouldn't be too alarmed. Do some talking, but realize there's only a certain depth you can go. Make a few suggestions, but not thinking about, is she someone who needs help? Express it to her to say that I need help. Alright? Because that's insidious, but it's also good for you to be able to say, I need help, so can we go to relationship counselling together? Because that might help her to become a bit more maternal towards you and think, yes, I'm doing it for him, when in fact it's for both of you, because a relationship it's an entity in its own right, and that's one thing lots of people forget. Okay, and so it's this relationship entity that you're nurturing, not just your problems and her problems. Mid-term future signs, very good indeed. That's when we got the sense of unity, a sense of teamwork. I love it when this card turns up. It's one of the major arcanas. It's the 14th major arcana, called Art. And it is speaking about a sense of alchemical transformation. Alright, taking something which is not very good and making it slightly better. And it also speaks of teamwork. And then you got the final sense of instability being turned upside down and bringing about a new future. I'll just expand the reading just a little further, hoping to get some coin signs. Well, no, I don't. Instead, we get some signs of more passion and more interconnectivity. This is a storm which is going to pass, but it's going to pass with you, your help, and your own action, because something good has got to materialize. And that will happen as a result of you taking some passive control. Okay, Nina 15C is asked for a quick reading. She's asking for a relationship, marriage, and pregnancy. On the subject of pregnancy, I will never read upon that. I will never read on medical matters. I will never read on childbirth or pregnancy. Okay? That's for ethical reasons. I know your traditional sort of dangly earringed fortune teller will say, oh, you'll have 1 million children by Halloween. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Well, forget that, okay? Sometimes you just got to put tradition aside and realize that this is a service that I'm providing you with so that you can help look at your life in a different way, okay? And what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to lay out a few cards and tell you about pregnancy, medical matters, or childbirth. Okay, I also don't do legal issues, alright, because there's laws which regulate this service, and I have an ethical responsibility to you to provide the best that I can. What I will do for you is a chronological spread to see whether a new relationship is going to come your way. That's as far as I'm willing to go, okay? Let's just have a quick look for you. Okay, already very good. First 2 cards are down and we got some wonderful signs coming through for you. Alright, first and foremost, you're not going to be alone forever. You're not going to be one of these women who's got 1 million cats in her house and lives alone somewhere in the countryside and is going steadily and shortly mad. What I am seeing is a sense of there being new beginnings, as well as a sense of something which appears to be self-actualization. The cards we've got there is the 4 of Staves and the Magician card. Why is the Magician card so important? It's the first major arcana, or is it? The Fool card, sometimes numbered as 0, often comes before that, talking about the childlike state prior to the adulthood state. The Magician card often symbolizes a sense of once you've gone through enough studying, you're then finally ready for something new to begin. It's like that moment of graduation. Everything that's been building up to the here and now has been preparing you for something. And your question was about relationships, and we've got the Magician side suddenly appearing within the short-ish term future, which I feel will be anything up to 6 months from now, roughly speaking. This is a chronological spread. I'm looking over a longish period of time for you, okay? So there is a connection which is going to make you feel very good, but it's not, it's not the Sun card, it's not the Lovers card coming through, it's not the 2 of Cups. It's actually the Stave card, the 4 of Staves. So I think that this next connection which is going to come, and it will come, trust me on this, okay, is actually going to give you a bit more perspective about what a relationship is about, and to be able to bring you to that point of being able to actually enjoy progress in the longer term future. I think that this is actually a sense of wisdom, this is actually a sense of progress, and you will actually be happy. Now, moving further forward into the reading, quite a combination of signs there. Alright, most of them are very highly willpower driven and determination driven. So will it necessarily be the most easy relationship on the face of the planet? Not necessarily. But it's also not looking too negative, and it's certainly not looking too, as you might say, evil, okay? The signs here are those of progress and trying to find a level whereby you can converge and be together in a strong way. For this individual to come through in this reading, he would have to be compatible. And compatibility means maybe 2 to 4 years either side of your own age. He would have to have a relatively stable career and would be quite stable in himself, quite grounded, quite wise, and quite healthy. That's the kind of thing that's coming through here. Very spiritual as well. So essentially there's an awful lot of very positive signs associated with this. So you just now need to take it one step at a time. Okay, Jaggy Chick has come back for another wonderful question about her relationship. We'll just have a quick look and see what's coming through for you. Now the question is, will this individual finally see JG Chick as being the proper girlfriend? Let's just have a quick look and see what's coming through. Bottom line, yes. Okay, this is just 5 cards having a look at the connection. Forces on your side of things, planning and preparation. You want this to work out and work out nicely. And I can see that very good and very strong. Forces between you, strength and stability, and that means consistency, long term. And on his side of things, some doubt but overcoming them and moving again towards stability. So that's looking very good and very happy for you. Essentially, I feel very good things about this, and I wish you all the best of luck. Okay? Alright, now those are the readings I'm doing for today. If you want to have a reading included, then quite simply send me a private message through YouTube, not in the comment section, a private message through YouTube, and I'll be happy to add you to the rota. Remember, tarot readings, psychic readings, mediumistic readings, and the rest of it are legally billed as an entertainment service for good, common sense reasons. You are the final decision maker in your life, and you must never forget that, okay? No matter what any reader, spiritualist, medium, peculiar person wearing a dog collar or whatever says to you, alright? You are the final decision maker, alright? Rate, comment, subscribe, favorite, and share, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.